All right, guys. Welcome to the MassURC 2026 General Informational Session. My name is Nika Trigelski, and I'm joined by our conference coordinator, Nina. So before we get started, I just wanted to say thank you guys all for taking the time to join today. This informational session is kind of just gonna serve to give you guys a general overview of the conference, some reasons to apply if you guys are on the fence about it, and if you've already decided that you're going to be presenting this year, then we kind of want to give you the information that you need so that you can successfully present. So who are we? My name is Nika Shpigelski. I am one of the conference assistants. I am a junior biomedical engineering major.
And hi everyone, my name is Nina Prenisel and I am the conference coordinator for MassURC. And I would also like to thank you all for joining us today to learn about MassURC.
So kind of today's session agenda, we are going to go through four main things. So first, I'm going to give you guys a conference overview so you guys can find out what MassURC is, when it's happening, where it's happening, and who is eligible to apply. Next, I'm going to explain to you guys what the point of applying is, and so you guys can find all the important information you need to do if you've already decided to apply. Um, the next thing we're going to talk about is kind of getting started. If you are set on applying, then we're going to give you all the information that you need in order to do so and make sure that you are familiar with our hub and all the other information you need so you can submit your abstract and all the little steps you need to do come conference time. And then at the end, we will have time for questions. So if you do have questions, please try and save them to the end. If you don't want to forget one, you can put it in the chat and we'll go through and answer them later. But try not to interrupt middle of the presentation. We do have time set aside for questions. So first, I'm going to give you guys a conference overview. MassURC is a one-day in-person conference where undergraduate students present research, share knowledge, and learn from fellow students. It's a really, really good opportunity for you to learn more about other people's research and get a chance to present your own. And we really encourage students to take this opportunity because it is not an opportunity you get often in college, and it's a really kind of good first step if you've never presented at a conference before. MassURC is very, very good for first-time presenters. So MassURC is open to anyone in the 28 public colleges in Massachusetts that are part of the Commonwealth. People not in the Commonwealth and not in these 28 public colleges are not eligible to present. So you need to be a student in Massachusetts in one of the institutes in the Commonwealth in order to present. So if you're not, unfortunately, you're not eligible to present at MassURC. So this year, the conference will be on April 17th, 2026. It's going to be a Friday, and it takes place over the course of the entire day with different poster sessions happening and speeches. So you don't have to be there all day. You will be given a slotted time slot for your poster presentation specifically, and that will come to you before the conference. You'll have plenty of time to know when that is, and if there's any conflicts, we also can mediate that. So don't worry, there is no real kind of assignment strategy, but don't worry if you're worried about when your poster session is and whatnot, we always are able to accommodate that. So that's not something to worry about, but it is in person and it is on April 17th. So, as I said, it's in person. It allows for broader access for students from across the Commonwealth to attend. We want this to be open to specifically Massachusetts students because that's kind of the point of the conference. It's MassURC. It takes place in the UMass Campus Center. So if you are a student at UMass, you know where the campus center is. But if you aren't, we have maps and everything. So it's in one of our main buildings and it's on the first floor. Um, and yeah, it's a really good opportunity, again, as I said earlier, to present your research. And you will not only have you'll have your poster up for presentation, but your abstract is not presented at the conference. That's something you submit prior to the conference, and we're going to get more into that in just a second. So who can apply? As I mentioned earlier, you need to be someone in one of the 28 public institutions in Massachusetts. You can present any research, independent study, creative work, or community service experience. And if you're involved in more than one project, you can only present one poster presentation. So if you have multiple projects, you are going to need to pick one to present. You can't present multiple times. So another thing that's really unique about MassURC is we're open to all subject areas. We really work to accommodate people in different subject areas. So if you have research or an independent study that's in of a niche subject area,
No, no, you're good. I'm in a meeting for
we try to accommodate that to the best of our ability. So If you have any questions or you're worried that maybe your research isn't something that's usually presented at a conference, we're really happy to accommodate that. We really try to. So it's open to all areas of study. You don't need to be in a STEM field in order to present at MassURC. So how do I apply? If you are already set on applying or this meeting is kind of convincing you to apply, you have a couple things you want to go through in order to get yourself ready. So first you want to get information and you're already doing that. You're attending our informational session. So that's a really good way to obviously get to know the conference prior to the date. And also at the end of the meeting, we have our social media links so that you can follow that. We do post a lot of really important updates on there. And it's a really good way to kind of just stay up to date with deadlines because we do work to make sure that that's all updated constantly. So it's a kind of an ability, it gives you an opportunity to see things in one place. The second thing you're gonna have to do is identify your support team. This is arguably one of the most important parts of your flow to present at the conference. So we're going to get more into who your support team is, but you're going to need to identify a faculty sponsor and then your campus contact. And I'm going to talk more about that in just a second. So the next step after that is going to be to submit your abstract. Our portal, our MassURC Hub registration opens on Friday, November 21st. So that's next Friday. You do not need to submit your abstract by then. That's just when our registration opens. We do encourage you to go in and make an account just so that you're familiar with the hub, familiar with the interface where you're going to be submitting your abstract. But yeah, that's a good date to keep in mind because that's when registration opens and that's when you're able to make an account on the hub and kind of start the process to get you ready for conference day. And then the last step is obviously going to be preparing for the conference, making your poster, getting all your materials ready, and making sure you're ready to present on April 17th. So, who is your support team? You have two main people in your support team, and that's going to be your faculty sponsor and your campus contact. The person that's going to be working directly with you is going to be your faculty sponsor. It's your responsibility to identify that person, and that's going to be somebody who either works closely with you in your research, um, somebody who's, if you're in an honors thesis, for example, it's going to be the person who's leading your honors thesis. If you're in a thesis seminar, it's going to be that person, that head. And if you're in a lab or something like that, then it's going to be your person who's leading your lab work, who's approving your deadlines and whatnot. So it's your responsibility to approve that person, and we recommend it be someone who's familiar with your research, who you're working closely with on that, because you want to be able to keep that up to date and you want to make sure that the person who's working with you on that obviously is familiar with what you're going to be presenting. So one of this main responsibility of this faculty sponsor is going to be to approve your abstract come the deadline. You have your own deadline to submit it and then they have a deadline to approve it. We do have resources up for faculty sponsors who have never done it before. We want to make it as easy as possible for them to to approve your abstract. So no need to worry if they've never done it before. We're here to help and we want to make sure that they're able to do that. But just like you, they're going to have to make an account in the hub so they're able to approve your abstract come that time. And they have plenty of time to do that. It doesn't have to be done the day that you submit it. So then the second person is going to be the campus contact. So this is a one go-to person per campus. And if you have any general questions about MassURC, that's who you're going to go to for those things. If your faculty sponsor has questions about MassURC and kind of how to get going, how to make the account, what MassURC is, what their responsibilities are, that campus contact is a good person to go to because they will be your point person for your campus. So these are campus specific. And each of the 28 schools included in URC has at least one campus contact. Some of them have more, but you can find that you can find out who your campus contact is, and those that can also be someone that you support. But again, this is not someone you're going to for questions about your specific research and your specific presentation, because again, they won't be familiar with that. That's going to be what you go to for your faculty sponsor. So now I'm going to talk about some of the presenter resources we have for you guys. So as you're preparing, we want you to be able to know that there's a bunch of resources out there for you guys. So your main resource is going to be the MassURC Hub. This is where you're going to submit your abstract. It's also where you're going to get your assignment for your poster session. It's going to be where you can edit your abstract to see if it needs revision after your faculty sponsor approves or marks it as need revision. And also we have a lot of old resources on there from past conferences, so you're able to prepare adequately. We have all of these info sessions that we have had in past years and this year are going to be recorded and posted on there. We have example research posters. We have notes about how to write an abstract if you've never done one before, as well as another info session on that later on. But we have a lot of resources on there, so we really encourage you to look there. And just to note, you don't need to make an account to look at the hub. The hub is open to the public. You can click around, kind of familiarize yourself, but you won't get that specific presenter information until you register and make an account there. And you do need to do that if you're a presenter because, again, this is going to be where you're submitting your abstract. So again, another resource we have is obviously these info sessions. We host them kind of to give people a better idea of what they're doing. And as I mentioned, these info sessions are all posted in the hub afterwards, as well as the slides. So if you guys want to see these slides afterwards, just review them. They will be available on the hub as well. So now I know some of you may have joined because you're already set on presenting at MassURC, but if you're not so sure, I kind of wanted to give you guys some reasons on why you should apply. So there's a lot of benefits to presenting at MassURC. One of them is that it's obviously a great thing to put on your resume. Being able to show that you have presented at a research conference that is accredited and has, people have been presenting at this conference for 32 years. It is a very good thing to put on your resume. It's a very good way for you to show that your research has come to a point where it's able to be presented at a conference and it's something you should be really proud of. Another reason it's a really great opportunity is because you're able to network with other undergraduate students that are studying or presenting research in the same field as you. So you may not know that a lot of people are doing similar research to you, and then you come to the conference and you find out, wow, there's so many people who are doing the same thing or something similar that you're interested in. So it's a great way to meet people that are doing similar things to you, kind of build a team, maybe learn something from them that you didn't know before. It's also a great form of relevant experience. You're able to show your public speaking skills and your networking skills, so that kind of ties the last 2 points together. And another reason it's so great is because you should be proud of the research you've been working on. This is a really great accomplishment, and this conference is meant to serve as a way for you to be proud of yourself, and be able to, present it and show people what you've been working on because it is a great accomplishment and it is something important. So now that's everything we have on the slides. We do have two slides after this that are going to be our interest form and our socials. But does anyone have any questions? You can put them in the chat if you don't want to turn your mic on. But if you have any other questions, please feel free to ask now.
And we did have a question in the chat earlier. Oh, it just came up again. So the deadline to apply is February 20th. That is when the MassURC Hub will close. And again, just to reiterate that the MassURC Hub opens for abstract submission this coming Friday. So in 2 days, you are able to submit your abstract. And then February 20th is the deadline.
So I'm seeing a question in the chat, how long are poster presentation sessions? So you have a slot of time, but we do encourage that you don't use that entire slot for your presentation because again, this is a moving conference. So your session time is going to be around 50 minutes. You'll have time to set up and strike beforehand. And you can't come in earlier because there are people presenting before you. So your session time is the time that you come in, you put your posters up, we have pins provided for you. And that's what you do. And we recommend that your presentations be about 5 to 10 minutes, if not a little bit shorter. You want to kind of give multiple people an opportunity to learn about your research. So you do have that 50-minute time slot, but you don't want to take that entire thing up for your one presentation because there again are going to be multiple people walking around. I'm seeing another question. Are the public and industry professionals invited to the conference? So we have it open to everyone. So if you want to invite anyone to the conference, they can register as a guest or they can just come to the conference day of and come see. So you can invite anyone that you want to see your research to the conference day of. And I'm getting a question about how competitive the application is. It's not competitive. We don't like select based on certain research types. It's more the reason we have like an application deadline is because we need to make sure that everyone's registered prior to the deadline. So we don't really like reject anyone. It's not like a competitive process. It's more just a deadline-based application. And we honestly just recommend submitting abstracts when you feel you're ready to do so. Your research doesn't have to be done when you submit your abstract. So don't feel pressured to have this foolproof abstract where you're explaining everything that's done because we know that's obviously not realistic. Some of your research is ongoing. You can use that opportunity to kind of talk about where your research is going. So honestly, we recommend doing it probably about before the earlier the better, but make sure that you're comfortable with what you're putting out there. And as long as it's before the deadline, that's good. But also, you want to give yourself time to revise it if your faculty sponsor does mark it as needs revision. So just make sure that you're staying up to date on your deadlines. We don't have really a recommendation. We just don't recommend that you're doing it right away.
And I would just like to jump in on the question I'm seeing here about your faculty sponsor being from Massachusetts State University. If you could email the email that is listed here, conference@honors.umass.edu, I can give you a more specific answer on that, just to make sure that we are understanding exactly the situation there. But normally, if you attend a public university in Massachusetts, it should be fine.
I'm seeing, can you submit research done in a course as a part of the URC? So yeah, you can, any research done is approved. So you're just making your poster, you're writing your abstract. So if your research was done in a class and it was just like a semester long research study that you want to present, you're more than welcome to do so. Just remember that you need to identify that faculty sponsor and they need to approve that you're submitting that research.
Yeah, and I would just like to reiterate based on that question that we will really accept anything or any discipline. We don't um, it- shy anyone away from submitting. Again, as we said before, we have accepted presentations from 60 different disciplines. So even if you feel like you're not in that STEM discipline or don't feel like it's exactly research, we really encourage you to still submit your abstract as we accept really any presentation from any discipline, and we like to see the creative differences.
I see someone asked, how do you find a faculty sponsor? So again, this is going to be, we can't help you find your faculty sponsor because again, we don't know what you are researching or what you're hoping to present. This is just going to be someone who you work closely with on whatever research you're hoping to present. You identify this person, you ask them to be your faculty sponsor, they make an account, and then they approve your abstract. They don't have all that many responsibilities, so if you're nervous to ask a professor that you're working with about this, you shouldn't be. They should, if they work closely with you on your research, they're probably familiar with the conference. And even if they're not, again, we can help them familiarize themselves. But again, this should just be someone that you work closely with on your research, someone who's familiar with it, and someone who's able to read your abstract and approve it because they know what you're talking about, obviously, because we are not going to be doing those approvals because we don't know all of your specific research.
And if you do feel like you're having trouble finding a faculty sponsor, you can refer to your specific campus contact for your campus, and those are all listed online on the MassURC Hub. So whichever university or college you are from, every school has a campus contact or a campus contact you can reach out to for advice for finding a faculty sponsor.
I'm going to move the slide just once over so that you guys can scan this QR code for our interest form. This puts you on our mailing list, so all of our updates that you get are going to be coming to you if you sign up with this QR code. You give us your email, and then we're able to send you all that information every time that we have a um, email that goes out. It's going to come to you. So it's a great resource. And then the slide after that, when everyone's ready, I'll give you guys a couple minutes to scan this. I'm going to put our socials on if you want to follow them, just because also we do post things, just like the information that's in the email.
And I will also send the interest form as a link. I just need to pull it up in 1 second.
Also, if anyone still has any questions, please feel free to ask or put them in the chat. I'm getting a question about someone who's in a research group. So what you present is up to you entirely. Um, Obviously, you want your research to be presented in a kind of a more comprehensive way where people are able to kind of understand what you've been doing. I would honestly refer to your graduate students that you're working with in that lab to see if they feel that what they think would be best for you to present. So, how you format it, what you present is entirely up to you. If you want to present just what you've been working on in your specific lab, you are more than welcome to do that. If you want to present your the research from all of you, then that works too. But again, it's entirely up to you. And just kind of whatever gives people the best idea of what you've been doing and whatever you think you can present adequately is what we recommend you put on your research poster.
And you're also welcome to give them credit as well on your research poster and also verbally when you are presenting, if that would make you feel more comfortable with presenting that research.
Since we have the link in the chat now, I'm just going to move and put our socials on the screen. There's also a link to the hub here, but if you search MassURC Hub in Google, that's the first thing that comes up. But we're basically MassURC and everything. We post on Instagram probably most out of all these platforms, and then on YouTube is where you can find our info sessions as well as on the hub. So that is all that we have for you guys today. If you have any questions that you want to ask privately, please feel free to stay on or to email us at conference@umass.edu. But otherwise, thank you guys so much for joining today. And if you have any other questions, please feel free to reach out.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, everyone.